उसको तकलीफ हो रही तो आना इधर आ जाए यार।
नहीं नहीं सर,
आ जा, 2 मिनट अभी इधर चले जाए। नहीं 2 मिनट अभी इधर चले
नहीं सर, किसी के ऊपर रहना है।
हाँ, चिंता ना करो, हंसी फील हो रहा है।
अरे सर आप
नहीं मैंने प्रॉमिस किया था उसको, इसलिए
मैंने इसको कहा था, मैंने आपने प्रॉमिस किया था, मुझे बता दिया था, मैं कहा लेफ्ट और राइट तो बुकड है। नीचे
वो मेरे सर पे बैठने वाला आदमी है।
पाँव पे बैठ जाइए, सर पे बैठ जाए।
हम देख तो नहीं रहे ना वो।
ना कुछ वीडियो ऑफ है। दोनों के उसका भी ऑफ है। हाँ दोनों नहीं, अगर मेन ही बंद करेगा ना।
नहीं अरे नहीं
नहीं मेन बंद कर दिया, वो तो ऑल्टरनेट है।
हाँ ये ध्यान रखिए भैया, नहीं तो आजकल वो कोर्ट रूम में वो हियरिंग चल रही होती है, वहाँ ऑफिस में कुछ और काम चल रहा होता है। टेलीकास्ट हो जाता है।
हाई कोर्ट या सुप्रीम कोर्ट में करनी है तो आप सब्सिक्वेंट इन दोस केसेस तो हमारा दैट पर्टिकुलर पार्टी कंसल्टेशन ऑफ की बात डॉक्टर ओझा से एक ही रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, इतनी लिमिटेशंस उस सेक्शन में दी गई है कि क्या वो सेक्शन वाकई में यूजफुल रहेगा इन दी टाइम्स टू कम, क्या आप इन सर्कमस्टांसेस में अपडेट नहीं कर पाएंगे, इतनी लिमिटेशन उसमें है, उसमें वेदर दिस पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन विल बी दैट मच यूजफुल। और दूसरी बात मैं जो जानना चाहूँगा
रिपीटेटिव
ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, क्या आप ये कहें कि अगर तो आपकी टैक्स लायबिलिटी बढ़ रही है तो रिटर्न फाइल कर सकते हैं, किंतु अगर आपका रिफंड बढ़ रहा है आपके
ये बंद है
आप उसमें अपडेटेड रिटर्न फाइल नहीं कर सकते।
मैं इसको कवर करता रही हूँ।
इसी को कवर करना है।
तो भाई साहब इनको कवर करते रहे।
हाँ बस वो इम्पोर्टेंट
और किसी को कवर कर रहे।
इसके परफ्यूम की स्मेल भी आनी चाहिए। मैं लगाता हूँ सर, नहीं तब भी आनी चाहिए।
फोटो खिंचवाने गया था घर पे, ये फोटो खिंचवाने गए थे घर पे।
हाँ नहीं आया,
वो रह गया ना, वो फिर इधर ही होगा ना
वो
सर।
भी रह गया।
मोदी साहब से ऊपर फोटो लगा रखी है अपनी।
वो बजट में फ्रंट पेज पे मोदी से ऊपर
ऑल इंडिया।
ऑल इंडिया
एक गरीब का छाता जो है वो शायद महंगा होने वाला है।
जो देखो
ये भी एक
सर,
डायकोटोमी
लाल केसरी में मोदी से ऊपर नहीं, फ्रंट पेज पे
और जीएसटी में जो आईटीसी का यूज है, जो आईटीसी
फ्रंट पेज
का
में
अवेलमेंट है, दैट इज गोइंग टू बिकम लिटिल बिट मोर स्ट्रिक्टर बेसिकली। कोई भी बजट जिसमें मैं ये समझता हूँ कि 20% तो सिर्फ इंटरेस्ट का ही जा रहा है इस पर्टिकुलर बजट के अंदर, और 5% पेंशन का जा रहा है, 16% जो जा रहा है वो
उसको जितना मर्जी कर लो, उसमें कम नहीं
का जा रहा है।
अरुण जी, अगर उनका बाद में रख सकते हैं तो बाद में भी रख सकते हैं।
नहीं वो एक्चुअली उधर वेट हो रहा है ना।
नहीं वो कोई दिक्कत नहीं, वो कोई दिक्कत नहीं।
तुम्हारे वाले में आ रही फोटो। नहीं
वो भी मेरा फोकस थिंग पे है ना।
अगले प्रोग्राम करते हैं।
कुछ एक्टिविटी बोल नहीं रही, उधर की चल रही है। तो ये है कि लोगों को पता रहे गुरु जी बैठे हैं, अगर ये बंद कर दिया ना तो फिर
वो बदला है कुछ गए। 10-5 साल भी मिले उससे साल भी मिले।
उधर से ऑडियो बंद
करो अभी फिक्स करते हैं आज। वो संदीप है हमारा।
ऑडियो ऑफ है ना अपना पे,
वो संदीप को बोला है
ऑडियो और स्पीकर बहुत ऑफ है।
अभी एक करो 3 दिन तक उससे
चलो प्रोग्राम बाद में फाइनल करना, पहले ये कर लेंगे।
अबे नेताओं है ना।
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for our in-depth analysis. And within the short time that we could give to you, you have very intelligently, very expertly, you have analyzed the budget and its impact. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, we also have with us CA Atul Gupta ji, who is also the past president of the institute, and we'll like to have his brief comments on the budget. Atul Gupta ji.
नमस्कार सर, चोपड़ा सर को नमस्कार, आहूजा सर को नमस्कार, रवि गुप्ता जी को, अरुण आहूजा जी को, सभी को। सर संजीव भाई को मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि हम आहूजा सर को सुने, क्योंकि आई कैन सी ऑन द चैट बॉक्स आल्सो एवरीबॉडी इज ईगरली वेटिंग फॉर द आहूजा सर। तो मेरे हिसाब से सर मैं सभी को बस नमस्कार, धन्यवाद सर आपको बुलाने के लिए, और कभी दूसरे मौके पे या इवन बाद में देख लेंगे, पर पहले आहूजा सर को रिक्वेस्ट।
ऑडियो स्टार्ट करना।
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर।
ऑडियो स्टार्ट।
Thank you, Atul Gupta ji. Thank you for understanding our position today and our constraint of time. Thank you so much. It is a real pleasure that you joined the program at very short notice, and you are always with us. Thank you so much. Friends, we also have with us Mr. MP Pathak, who is the president of Delhi Tax Bar Association. Brief comments from Mr. MP Pathak, please.
सर स्किप करते हैं।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। हमारे गुरु जी आदरणीय आहूजा साहब, नानी साहब, अतुल गुप्ता जी, अमरजीत चोपड़ा जी, अशोक गुप्ता जी, आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने हमें अपने प्लेटफॉर्म पे जगह दिया। और बाकी हम सब सुनने के लिए जो आहूजा साहब को पहली फरवरी को बजट आते ही हम इंतजार में रह जाते हैं कि साहब को कब सुनने को मिलेगा। तो मेरे ख्याल से मैं भी अतुल गुप्ता जी के बात से सहमत हूँ कि हम ज़्यादा टाइम न लेते हुए सीधे हम आहूजा साहब को सुनने का प्रयास करेंगे। और टैक्स लॉ एजुकेशन सोसाइटी जो हमें टाइम टाइम पे अपडेट करती रहती है, उसके लिए भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और मेरा निवेदन यही है कि आहूजा साहब जो है अपना आज हम लोगों को अपना जो है ज्ञान देने के लिए अपनी ज्ञान गंगा प्रवाहित करें, जिसमें हम लोग स्नान करने के लिए तैयार बैठे हैं, बहुत बेसब्री से इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
Thank you, Mr. Pathak.
धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Pathak sahab. And I'll now request Mr. Ashwini Jindal ji to please come in.
ऑडियो ऑन करना।
Mr. Ashwini Jindal.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। ये हमारा, जैसे मैंने स्टार्टिंग में भी सबको बोला कि ये मेरा सौभाग्य है कि आज हम ने एंट्री कर ली है जो गुरुजी की पैटर्न में सोसाइटी है, टैक्स एडुकेट सोसाइटी। आई एम थैंकफुल टू रवि गुप्ता जी एज वेल एज अरुण आहूजा जी, जिनके कारण हम भी आज फर्स्ट प्रोग्राम में, जैसे मैंने कमेंट किया था, 1000 दर्शक हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, जो वोका टीवी के माध्यम से, सी एसोसिएशन के माध्यम से, टैक्स एडुकेट के माध्यम से, और भी एसोसिएशन इतनी उनके माध्यम से मैं सबका स्वागत करता हूं हमारे आज के प्रोग्राम में। मेरे साथ हमारे गुरुजी को जैसे निर्मला सीतारमण जी को पहले इंट्रोड्यूस कराते हैं ना कैबिनेट में, मैंने पहले इंट्रोड्यूस करा दिया था कैबिनेट में बिफोर द बजट। तो गुरुजी को जैसे रवि जी ने शुरू में बताया कि मेडिकल इमरजेंसी इनके ब्रदर हॉस्पिटलाइज्ड है, तो गुरुजी का आज थोड़ा मतलब इसलिए गुरुजी को इसलिए हम मतलब बाकी प्रोग्राम थोड़ा शॉर्ट और मतलब क्रिस्प कर रहे हैं। मैं जितने भी जुड़े हुए ज्यादा टाइम ना लेते हुए सबका स्वागत करता हूं। अभी मेरे साथ अविनाश गुप्ता जी हमारे चेयरमैन NIRC भी जुड़े हुए हैं, मनीष जी भी गुरुजी के पार्टनर, और अरुण जी का बेटा भी जुड़ा हुआ है, और भी हमारे साथ स्पीकर्स जुड़े हुए हैं। बाकी सबका जो आदरणीय पास्ट प्रेसिडेंट्स अमरजीत चोपड़ा जी, अतुल जी, और भी बड़े पैनलिस्ट हैं, क्योंकि गुरुजी के बीच में मैं ज्यादा नहीं रुकना चाहूंगा। गुरुजी को इंट्रोड्यूस करने के लिए मेरे को बोला गया, गुरुजी को इंट्रोडक्शन की जरूरत नहीं है। इन एब्सेंशिया संजय अग्रवाल जी, अब मेरे ख्याल में आ भी गए हैं संजय अग्रवाल जी, क्योंकि हम ज्वाइंटली प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं जो टैक्स एडुकेट सोसाइटी की तरफ से, इस वजह से मैनेज भी ज्वाइंटली कर रहे हैं। गुरुजी को किसी इंट्रोडक्शन की जरूरत नहीं। मेरा तो उस समय जन्म नहीं हुआ था, मैं 72 में जन्म हुआ मेरा, तो गुरुजी तो 71 में शायद 69 में जो CA बन गए थे। तो आज की डेट में इनकी पहचान अकेले टैक्स गुरु के रूप में नहीं, इंटरनेशनल टैक्स गुरु हो चाहे योग गुरु हो, सबके रूप में हम गुरुजी को देखते हैं। तो नंबर ऑफ लेक्चर की तो बात करने की जरूरत नहीं। कभी हम कहते थे गुरुजी के 3000 लेक्चर हो गए, अब तो हमें ढूंढना पड़ता है कि 5000 हो गए कि 8000 हो गए कि 10,000 हो गए। तो भारत की जनसंख्या की तरह इनके लेक्चर बढ़ रहे हैं। तो इन सबसे ऊपर हटके आज हम गुरुजी से सुनने चाहेंगे कि जो अपनी प्रिया जो मोदी सरकार है उसके बारे में हमें कितना बताते हैं बजट में। तो मैं ज्यादा टाइम ना लेते हुए सीधा डायरेक्टली टू गुरुजी।
Before I request Dr. Ahuja to start his deliberations, I would like to place on record appreciation for Shivam Ahuja, who is son of Arunji, for all the technical support that he is providing for today's program. And it is because of his efforts that we are having this technical program today. Thank you, Shivam. And now over to you, sir, for your deliberations.
Good morning to everyone. Said what is the details of that emergency? Okay. Our past president, Mr. Amarjit Chopra ji, IPP immediate past president, Shri Atul Gupta ji, president of the Tax Education Society, Dr. Ravi Gupta ji, General Secretary, of course, CA Arun Ahuja ji, Chairman of the Northern India Regional Council, Avinash, of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Avinash Gupta ji, H.L. Madan ji, the Tax Bar Association of Delhi, State Tax Bar Association of Delhi, MP Pathak ji, Delhi Tax Bar Association, and above all, अभी नहीं, मेरे अपने पार्टनर्स बैठे हैं, मैं भूल गया उनका, मनीष गर्ग जी, गौरव डकेचा जी। अभी मैंने एक थोड़ा सा हमसे गलती हो चुकी है कि हमने संजीव सिंघल जी को टाइम नहीं दिया, क्योंकि मैंने हरी, तो संजीव सिंघल जी ऑल्सो इज देयर, द सेंट्रल काउंसिल मेंबर, एंड ऑफ कोर्स द अदर डिग्निटीज, संजय शर्मा जी, ऑफ कोर्स एडवोकेट संजय शर्मा जी इज ऑल्सो देयर। मुझे नहीं पता डी के गांधी जी आ गए नहीं आए, और डी के गांधी जी इन एब्सेंशिया इफ इज नॉट देयर, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, he's come? Yes. Sorry, sir. B.K. Gandhi ji also be welcome here, the president of the All India Tax Federation of Tax Practitioners. So,
may I also intervene, please? Sanjeev Singhal ji, please stay with us. We will like to listen to you on your topic of sustainable growth, but we will do that as soon as we are done with the lecture of Dr. Girish Ahuja ji. His deliberations are over. We will like to listen to you. So, Sanjeev ji, please stay with us.
I've been told that Sanjay Agarwal ji is also there, the newly elected Central Council member. Ladies and gentlemen, well, I don't know whether I will be able to perform the way I used to perform, but I'm trying my level best to come up to that level. So, first thing is, there was an amendment which was made in the definition of slum sale, which is given under section 2 clause 42C. The amendment which was made was because of the reason, they say what is slum sale means, transfer of one or more undertaking. Earlier the word used was as a result of sale. They used it, no, not as a result of sale, by any means by which the assets are transferred for a lump sum consideration without assigning the value to any asset or liability. The mistake which they committed was assets and liability is respect of that sale. Now that word sale should not have been there when you have used the word by any means. So the word sale has been substituted by the word transfer. I'm going section by section, of course. Next section, a new subsection inserted under section 2, that is called section 2 clause 47A, which is virtual digital asset. The concept of virtual digital asset may not be known to me in detail, but of course everybody talks about cryptocurrency, but this is nothing but, it is not only cryptocurrency, it is many things. So the definition given in section 2 clause 47A is very well, cryptocurrency means any information, any token, any information, any code, any token, any what you call number which has been generated by crypto means, which has been generated by, I'm not very technical in that word, crypto means, crypto means which has been generated. That is also called as cryptocurrency. So it is not only currency, but does not include Indian currency or any foreign currency. But this has been generated, that is mining is done. Generated, the asset may be of any kind. It can be a token, it can be a code, it can be information, it can be what you call any number which has been generated, and you have one more word is very called fungible token also is also the word which is used in that. So I don't know the technical things in 247A, you please read that, but that of course is the definition given. Now this is an income. How do you get this? How do you tax it? They have inserted section 115 BBH. They have inserted section 194S. they have inserted section 56 subsection 2, some amendment has been made in section 56 to 10, all because of virtual digital asset. The meaning is given under section 2 clause 47A, but I am coming to 115 BBH, which has been introduced with effect from assessment year 23-24, as the 2023-24, which says where the total income of an assessee includes any income from the transfer of any virtual digital asset. Are you understanding me? Your total income includes income from the transfer of any virtual digital asset. Then such income shall be taxable at the special rate of 30% under section 115 BBH, and the clause B says, and all other total income will be taxable at its at normal or special rate given under other sections. But what I am trying to explain, they have said now profit or gain from cryptocurrency is going to be taxed under special provisions of 115 BPH. Somebody was asking, under which head you will take the profit on the sale of cryptocurrency? Will it be taken under capital gain? Answer is no. If they had taken it under capital gain, they should have amended the definition of capital asset under section 2 clause 14. They have not done. And if they had taken it as a capital gain, then they would have talked about short-term capital gain or a long-term capital gain. Then nothing has been talked. It is not a capital gain, it is not a salary, it is not house property, it cannot be called a business income. They have treated it under the head income from other source. If there is no, and it doesn't fall under first four heads, it will fall under the regulatory head. So that under regulatory head, whatever is the income from the cryptocurrency is going to be taxed at the rate of 30%. But they have added that, please note, no deduction, no expense, except what you call cost of acquisition of that virtual crypto asset. No setup or no allowance will be allowed from such crypto income from which is earned on account of virtual crypto asset. So you will not be allowed any expense except expense on the cost of acquisition of that virtual digital asset. You will not be allowed any loss. You will not be allowed what you call setup under any provisions of the Income Tax Act. And secondly, no loss is allowed to be set up from any other provision. This loss is not allowed to be set up any other provisions of the Income Tax Act. You will not be allowed to set off this loss at all. And no loss of any other provision can be set up from this crypto income. So crypto income without setup will be taxable. Now one issue which is very important, yesterday I was discussing with us, somebody said, suppose there are two transactions of virtual crypto asset. One transaction you have income, another transfer you have a loss. Will that be allowed to be set up? According to me, that is one of these two transactions. You have to calculate the income from virtual crypto asset. So it is not to be calculated transaction wise. It has to be calculated the total income which is included in the total income. So my point is, yes, one loss, another loss, a profit under the crypto virtual digital will be allowed to be set up, but no other loss, or you can't set up any loss under any other provision of the income tax from this crypto income, or this loss cannot be set up. And thirdly, this loss will not be allowed to be carried forward. If there is a loss on account of virtual crypto asset sale, the loss will not be allowed to be set up at all. That will be a dead loss in that case. You can't be carried forward, and you will not be allowed to set it off also. This is 115 BBH. Now the point is, this is a transfer, and when there is a transfer, how do the income tax will know there is a transfer of the cryptocurrency? So to monitor that, they have brought a section under the provisions of TDS, like section called 194S, which said every person responsible for making a payment of consideration for the transfer of virtual digital asset shall be under an obligation to deduct tax at the time of credit of such consideration to the party, or at the time of payment of such consideration, whichever is earlier, and the tax has to be deducted at the rate of 1% of such consideration. It's 1% of the consideration, not 1% of the income. 1% of the consideration tax will have to be deducted in that case. The tax will be deducted at 1% of the income. That was the point. Now sometimes what happens is that you are getting a consideration in kind, or you may be getting a consideration in the exchange of another crypto asset, or there may be an income partly given, the income is done partly in kind and partly in cash. So what will happen about the TDS in that case? The law says you will have to, if it is only in kind, you will have to see that tax has been deducted, like lottery income. Suppose a car, you win in the car in the lottery income, you have to ensure that tax has been deducted on account, or you have to collect the tax from that person who is winning that lottery, or similarly who is winning that, you will have to collect that person because it is in kind. And when partly in cash and partly in kind, then if the TDS amount is more than what is cash, then also you will have to ensure that the TDS has been deducted and deposited in that. Then they have said provision of 203A and 26AB shall not be applicable. What is that 203A? That there is no requirement of TAN. For depositing this TAN, there is no requirement of TAN. And secondly, 206AB, they say that there is no need to deduct the tax, twice the rate, whatever is there, if you have not paid. That also section is not applicable in that case. That section is also not applicable in that case. So one has to be very clear. The next point they have said is that when you are, it's okay. So my point which I wanted to say is, another point is, when you are deducting this tax, it might have been credited to any suspense account or any other account, whatever name called, it does not make any difference. You will have to deduct the tax at the rate of 1%. At the rate of 1%. And the point is that there is no need to, no tax to be deducted if the payment made by a specified person does not exceed 50% during the financial year. Please note the word by a specified person, the person who is buying that, the crypto, that he has to deduct the TDS. Who has to deduct the TDS? The person who is buying that, right? This buyer of that area, if he is a specified person, if it does not exceed, the amount does not exceed 50,000, no need to deduct TDS. And in other case, only 10,000. What do you mean by this 10,000? A specified person is only individual or HUF who is carrying on a business, but his gross turnover or gross sale does not exceed 1 crore, or if he is carrying on a profession, his gross receipt does not exceed 50 lakh, then in that case it is 50,000. If it is more than 1 crore or more than 50 lakh, it is 10,000. For company it is 10,000. For only for individual HUF who is not required to get his accounts audited, that means whose turnover does not exceed 1 crore or his professional income does not, gross receipt does not exceed 50 lakh, or he is not carrying on any business. He is an individual HUF but not carrying on a business. In that case, the limit is 50,000. But in any other case, the limit will be 10,000. So one has to be very careful that the no deduction 50,000 only in case of specified person. In all other cases, 10,000 rupees. No TDS to be deducted. All other cases is 10,000. And please, the government may come out with certain guidelines in that with the approval of the parliament, and that guidelines will have to be placed before the table of the parliament. That point I have also said in that case. So this is 194S which is there, I am telling you, for deduction of tax at source. Now what can happen is, somebody has a virtual digital asset, if he is transferring that asset without any consideration. He is not, I want to give this crypto asset to Shivam Ahuja, son of Mr. Arun Ahuja. If I want to give to him, he is not my relative, mind it, he is not my relative. So will that be taxable in the hands of Shivam Ahuja as under section 56 subsection 2 clause 10? Because earlier if you use the word, what is taxable under section 56 to 10 is immovable property or movable property. The definition of movable property is given in section 56 subsection 2 clause 7 in explanation that says movable property includes shares and security, jewelry, archaeological collection, drawings, paintings, sculpture, work of art. But under section 56 to 10, they said what is the meaning of property? Earlier it was different, given in 56 to 10. Now they said under 56 to 10 explanation they have added the meaning of property will be same as given in 56 to 7 but shall include virtual digital asset. Are you getting my point what I am saying? The property, movable property as per section 52(7) read with 56 to 10 means, I said, shares and securities, jewelry, archaeological collection, drawings, painting, sculpture and bullion. Nowhere I have used the word virtual digital asset. But when I come to 56 to 10, they have said meaning of property will be same which is given in section 56 to 7 but it will include virtual digital asset. Meaning thereby if I give this virtual digital asset of a value more than 50,000 rupees and it is given to Shivam Ahuja, he will have to pay tax on that as a gift without consideration. Of course, he will have to pay tax on that. That point has to be kept in mind. This they have inserted and they have not done anything. They have used the word property means there and includes the virtual digital asset. So be careful about that. They have changed but actually written virtual digital asset. But if I had given that property to my brother, to my sister, to my relative, which is given under section 52(7), then that virtual digital asset which he receives will not be liable to tax even if it is received under a gift. Are you getting my point? So that gift or while on the occasion of marriage or all those conditions are there. Only condition is if I give to unrelated person and the virtual digital asset value is more than 50,000 in a previous year, if I give to him, then it will be definitely taxable in the hands of Shivam Ahuja under the income from other sources. So this is also the point for crypto. What normally people are talking about cryptocurrency, but let me tell you, it is not only cryptocurrency, it can be any kind of virtual digital asset. You might have developed something and you have sold that thing to some other person electronically. Who will come to know? So that is the reason they have said the TDS will have to be deducted. TDS will have to be deducted by the buyer, provided it exceeds 50,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees as the case may be, and the TDS to be deducted to the rate of 1%. Clear, sir? Any doubt? Anybody can help me out if I miss something, because I have the state of mind, I am not in full state of mind, so I might miss something. That is the point I wanted to say. So this is, I don't want to use the word there are certain exemption under section 10, 4E, 4F, 4G which have been introduced, no meaning, and some exemption have been withdrawn. Withdrawn nahi, that has no left is important, section 10.8, 10.8A, 8 or 8A, then 10.9. Those exemptions were there, but they have no use now, so they have withdrawn those sections. I will come to section 1023C as well as section 11, 12, 13 last, because it is 50 pages which have been given only to these two cases. I will definitely do it, don't worry, I will definitely do it, but I don't want to involve you in those complications so that you will say, what is this happening? We don't understand anything. So I will be talking about that later. Coming to now proviso to section 17 subsection 2. I remember sometimes in 25th June 21, the government had come out with a press note that if you have incurred any, if the employer has incurred any expenditure on COVID-19 or somebody has incurred expenditure on COVID-19 for anybody else, like I remember Sanjeev Singhal had done a good job of spending money on COVID-19. They had formed an association and they were doing it at the job. The question was, who is paying? The payment was not done by the employer, the payment was made by some other person for the treatment of COVID-19 of that person. Now the point is, that point I will take later, but suppose the employer has incurred the expenditure on the treatment of COVID 2019. Abhinashji, COVID 2019, employer has incurred the expenditure. proviso to that section says that if the treatment is done in a hospital maintained by the employer, and second is if the treatment is done in a government hospital or for a specified ailment or disease, one more clause has been added that if the expenditure has been incurred by any person, please note the word by any person, but here it is not person, here it is by the employer, because 17(2) talks about perquisite. If the treatment expenditure has been incurred by the employer on the COVID treatment of the employee or his family member, whatever expense is incurred, it will not be treated as perquisite. We will not call it as a perquisite. That is the point which they want you to tell. The proviso to section 17(2) has excluded the expenditure incurred by the employer on COVID, maybe any amount incurred, 50 lakh, 40 lakhs, whatever amount incurred by the employer will not be included in the salary of the employee. Similar type of a thing has happened in section 56 subsection 2 clause 10. Suppose Avinash Gupta was also doing lot of job for this COVID-19 2019. I remember he got many certificates also through the, of course, incurred through, of course, Shri Ram College Alumni Association. He happens to be the general secretary of that, and he did lot of activities of. Now the question is, 56 subsection 2(10), if it is more than 50,000 and it is without consideration, should be taxed. But they have said, in the proviso, they have inserted two XI 11 and 12, saying that any expenditure incurred by any person, please note by any person, either by the employer or any person other than employer, any expenditure on the medical treatment of COVID 2019 of the individual shall not be treated as a gift, shall not be taxable under section 56 subsection 2 clause 10. Am I right, sir? Yes, sir. Avinash ji has incurred so much of expenditure on the medical treatment of the many persons, and they might have incurred more than 50,000 to a person, saying no problem. And second is, unfortunately, if the person died and somebody is held and given some ex gratia amount to the family of the deceased. Now it can be two types. If that ex gratia amount has been given to the family of the deceased by the employer, the entire amount received by that person will not be taxable at all. Although it is gift, will not be taxable at all if it is given by the employer. To whom it is given? Family of the deceased who has died under please note, you have to have a certificate of COVID 2019 death. Then only the amount which is received from the employer, ex gratia amount, fully not taxable under 56(2)(10). Similarly, if the amount received from any other person, suppose Sanjay Agarwal ji has incurred expenditure given to the, or we all have contributed amount for the and given it to the family of the deceased, then the amount to be exempt is to the extent of rupees 10 lakh. Now one point I have failed to understand, suppose it is not 10 lakh, it is more than 10 lakh, 11 lakh, Sanjay. Will 1 lakh be taxable or 11 lakh be taxable? If you read the language, the entire amount of 11 lakh be taxable. We will be representing this, that minimum 10 lakh should be given exemption, and if the amount given to the family of the deceased by any other person than other, then you may tax only the balance amount exceeding 10 lakhs. So that is a post-budget memorandum. Now you are the council member and you are going to be there in the please post-budget memorandum, please include this point that it is not 10 lakh, it is up 10 lakh exempt, but if it is more than 10 lakh, you will give exemption of 10 lakh and balance only will be taxable. Because in the case of 56(2)(10), if I receive more than 50,000, let's say I receive 51,000, it is 50 is not exempt, the entire 51 is exempt. And if I go on the same lines, if it is more than 10 lakh, meaning thereby I have to pay tax on the entire amount of the family of the deceased. This point has to be kept in mind. So I have given you a food for post-budget memorandum. Please keep in mind that point also.
We welcome CA Sanjay Agarwal ji, who is the Central Council member of the Institute. He has just joined us in this deliberation. We welcome you, sir. Please.
Shani sir, welcome to you, sir. The next point. After 17(2), that the change in section 35(1), what a wonderful thing. The wonderful thing is that under section 35(1), which I make a donation under to scientific research, for social or statistical research, or for certain institution for doing the research, that deduction, now the rule is that whatever contribution is given, the recipient has to file a return, has to file a statement that they have received so much amount, which will be auto-populated in 26 AS, that this amount of donation has been given to the scientific research institution. What have they said in section 35(1), which they have said, the person who has received the donation will not be allowed deduction. The question was, the person who has made the donation will not be allowed a deduction unless that statement is filed and it is given, the details have been auto-populated in the 26. So that correction they have done. Deduction, exemption, deduction will be allowed, that the expenditure of 35(1) will be allowed to them. But the person who has made the donation will not be entitled to deduction unless the recipient has filed a statement of the donation and it has been properly filed with it included. So that was the 35. Next section was 37, where so if you have incurred any expenditure which is an offence, in respect of any offence or prohibited by law, you are not allowed deduction under 37(1). But people have taken the meaning that it is only case of under domestic law, it is an offence or it is prohibited under the domestic law. But they have now clarified whether it is under the domestic law or international law, it does not make any difference. Either in international law, people were spending money which is prohibited by law or which was an offence, or they were given money for compounding of that offence. All that was, they said that this is not covered under 37 because 37 talks about only domestic law. They have clarified whether it is under domestic law or it is under any other law, international law. We are not going to give you a deduction on account of an expenditure related to which is an offence or which is prohibited by law. That point is 37, they have clarified. Next question. The courts are very clever, and one high court, Sisa Goa Limited, Bombay High Court, and the another is Chambal Fertilizers and Chemicals Limited. There, Rajasthan High Court decided that education tax, health and education tax, is an allowable deduction. Is an allowable deduction. The intention of the law was not that, but since the two courts had decided, one was the High Court and the second was High Court of Bombay High Court, the another was Rajasthan High Court. Now, what have they said? Under section 40 clause I, where there is verb use, any tax paid is not an allowable deduction. Expenses which are expressly disallowed. Sanjay ji, their word uses any tax on the profit or gain of the business and profession. Now, they have given an explanation. This tax will include not only the surcharge but also the health and education tax, meaning thereby now surcharge, normal tax, health surcharge, health and education tax shall not be eligible for deduction under section, it will be expressly disallowed. That was the purpose of bringing an explanation under section 40A, IA. Clear, sir? This was the another point which I wanted to tell you. This was 40 section. Next section, which is called where the change has taken place. There is no change in the capital gain chapter at all. There is no change in the other change in the business chapter also, if I'm not mistaken. Then the change is in section 56 except the 27B, but that is a minor change. That venture capital or say international financial center security, that is not a change which is required to be understood. Then there is section 56 to 10, I have already spoken to you, but there is one more change in the section 56 to 10, if I am not wrong. That change was, let me recall what kind of a change was in 56 to 10. One was the definition of property, the crypto, we have already done. About the crypto part, we have already done. Now coming to the next section. After 56, the section of course is 79A. 68, very good. Thank you for reminding me. You know, you have a proviso under section 68 which it says where there is a sum received on account of any share application, was received by a company on account of share application money, on account of share capital or on account of share premium, then not only the source, but you will have to tell the source of the source, meaning by if I have given capital or share application money to the company which is closely held company, not the listed, widely held company. So closely held company received any share capital, as if to say I have received for Sanjay Agarwal, but the amendment was made not only this, but we'll have to give the source of Sanjay Agarwal ji also from where he received that money to give it to the company. Source of source. And AO should be satisfied with that explanation which has been given by Sanjay Agarwal ji about source of source. It was only for closely held company and only in case of receipt of money which is credited on account of share application, share capital, share premium. That proviso has now been changed to proviso 2. Proviso 1 has been inserted, saying that if there is any sum found credited in the books of account which is in the nature of loan or borrowing or any such amount by whatever name called, in that case also for that loan, for that borrowing, you have to give source of source. From where? If I borrowed from Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, I used to give the details of the Sanjay Agarwal that I have received from this and all those things were there. Now I will have to prove where from the Sanjay Agarwal also received that loan. I am wondering, Sanjay ji, suppose I borrowed from Scheduled Bank. Nowhere exception is given. So will I have to give the source of the Scheduled Bank also from which where it is borrowed? I agree if I have not that given because I borrow from NBFC say. Then you have to give the source of the NBFC also from where they have taken that money. So obviously the word used is may. So they obviously the AO will not ask the source of source in case I have borrowed from bank. But if I borrowed from some financial institution or some NBFC, so they may ask the source of source also to tell us what is the source, and he should be satisfied that the source is correct. So now please note, if you have any amount credited in the books of account found by the AO as loan or borrowing or such amount, you have to give not only the source from which you have borrowed, you have to give the source of the source also from that person who is the lender, from where he got that money. Am I right, sir? Sanjay ji, this is a very important change in this is proviso 1, proviso 2 is already there, which was earlier proviso 1. Clear, sir? Yes, sir. Yesterday he was talking to me, sir, they have abolished proviso 2, proviso 2 is, proviso 1 is there, but it will be changed to proviso 2. That was 68. 79A.
So 68 is applicable to all loans also, that is also question. Many people are.
देखिए, please. It is, what is the language? If any sum is found credited in the books of accounts of the assessee for which he does not offer an explanation of the nature and source or offers an explanation which is not found satisfactory. So that is particular here. Not the, but 148 comes, then it's okay. If 148 comes, it's okay. But otherwise, source of source is going to be there from assessment your word is written, if I am not wrong. That provision has been inserted.
1st April 23.
That's why I'm saying. So they can't do that. But it will be 23, 24 onwards. New loans or borrowings. Source of source. That has already been done. Now what is the question of source of source in that case? It is already done. It is for relevant previous year when 68 is applicable. Now since you have talked about 68, coming to that, रवि जी हमेशा कहते थे भैया कोई 68 हो जाए, 69 हो जाए, 69 ABC हो जाए, कोई बात नहीं है, हम उसको बिजनेस इनकम दिखाकर और उसका लॉस सेटअप कर लेंगे. कोई बिजनेस इनकम प्रॉफिट लॉस होगा या अनअब्जॉर्ब डेप्रिसिएशन होगा, हम उसको सेटअप कर लेंगे, हम तो बिजनेस इनकम दिखाएंगे. मैं कहता था भैया बिजनेस इनकम तो अलाउड ही नहीं है. ये तो वहां तो सेक्शन 115 BBE में तो कहता है दे शुड बी टैक्सेबल एट स्पेशल रेट एंड नो डिडक्शन, नो एक्सपेंस, नो लॉस विल बी अलाउड फ्रॉम देयर. कहते थे नहीं, सपोज कीजिए एक इन्वेंट्री आई, इन्वेंट्री वहां पर सर्च हो गया और सर्च के सामने इन्वेंट्री बढ़ गई या कम हो गई, तो हम तो कहेंगे तो बिजनेस से रिलेटेड है, तो बिजनेस इनकम हो गए. उन्होंने क्लियर कर दिया 79A में लिए अगर कोई सर्च हुई है, कोई सर्वे हुई है अदर देन TDS सर्वे, any search conducted or any survey conducted and there is a income which is there which is of the nature of section 68, 69, 69A, 69B, that at that income no loss will be allowed to be set up which is, we call it as undisclosed income. No laws will be allowed to be set off from such undisclosed income. It has very, very clearly said. So Ravi ji, no, it is not a business
अब
income.
नहीं है ना सर, जो मैं कह रहा था वो तो ठीक था ना।
अब ये रवि ये कहते हैं इसका मतलब पुराने में तो था, अरे पुराने में तो था, अब ये लाए हैं और मैं चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हूं, फर्क लॉयर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट का यही होता है, मैं वो देखता हूं जो लॉ में लिखा है, ये वो देखते हैं जो लॉ में नहीं लिखा, मैं क्या कर सकता हूं?
सर आप सरकार हो, हम एसएससी हैं।
ना मैं सरकार नहीं हूं, मैं चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हूं सर। थोड़ा सा लाइट करना था मूड, मैंने इसलिए लाइट मूड कर दिया। तो दिस इज 79A, जिसने कह दिया लॉस अलाउड नहीं होगा फ्रॉम अनडिस्क्लोज्ड इनकम, विच इज कवर्ड अंडर 68, 69, 69AB। क्लियर है सर? और वो सर्च और उसकी वजह से ही हुआ। तो ये मैंने आपको 79A बताया। आइए आगे सक्सेस करते हैं 80CCD। सर, कंट्रीब्यूशन बाय द एम्प्लॉयर टू नेशनल पेंशन स्कीम फॉर नॉन गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉयर. Employer contribution of 10% is allowed as deduction under section 80CCD. As regards contribution by the central government, they had increased this contribution from 10% to 14%, and that was allowed as deduction under 80CCD to the extent of 14% employer contribution. I'm not talking about employee contribution. Employer contribution, and central government is contributing 14% for national pension scheme. But this was only for central government. Now they have given this benefit also employer contribution by state government. State government contributing as employer to the national pension scheme of the employee. The contribution which will be allowed as deduction will now also be 14%, level playing for central and state government, but for all other non-government organization, it is 10% employer contribution. Right, sir, Sanjay ji? This is 80CCD. 80DD. You know, 80BB, unfortunately, if somebody has a dependent with physical disability or severe disability on him, you can get the dependent insured. You don't have to insure that, you have to pay, insurance has to be taken in the name of that individual who is insuring that physical disability person. Or if it is HUF, it will have to be taken the policy in the name of the member. Earlier the law used to say that if that this policy allows you to get the what you call annuity after the death of that individual whose name that was done, or after the death of the member of that HUF, and the person with disability was getting that benefit under as an annuity. Now they said during the course, I'm still alive, but suppose unfortunately there is some leeway be given to him that he can file a return of income. So that concept has been introduced by inserting subsection 8A under section 139. We call it as updated return. If in case of an SSC who has not filed a return or has filed a return, in both cases that will be given. Suppose that person did not file return at all. Suddenly he realized, oh, that capital gain acquisition, it was not under REPLAR, it is the normal under Land Acquisition Act, I should have paid tax, or it is not rural agriculture income, rural agriculture is exempt, or it is like that income I have shown